Hi everyone, and welcome to this video going over lesson 34.2, volume of prisms and cylinders. Volume is the number of cubic units needed to fill up the interior completely. So if you look in part A, I have a rectangular prism and I have a bunch of cubes. And I want to know how many of these cubes is it going to take to make up this rectangular prism? And the amount of cubic units will be my volume. So I'm going to start by counting how many cubic units I have in the top row. I have 1, 2, 3 by 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 times 4 tells me that I have 12 cubic units in the first row. But if you notice, I have 2 rows. So if I have 12 cubic units per row, I'm going to do 12 times 2. And that tells me that my volume is 24 units cubed. Because it takes 24 cubic units to make up this rectangular prism. What we are going to talk about now is how do we find the volume of a prism if the cubic units aren't given to us. In part B, you'll see that I have the same rectangular prism, but I don't have the cubic units marked off for me. So let's think about the process we did in part A. I started by doing 3 times 4 because I wanted to find the area of my base. My base of this prism is a rectangle, and so to do area, it is base times height. So step 1 is to find the area of one base. Then, after we found the area of our base, which was 12, we multiplied by how many rows we had, also known as the height of the prism. So step 2 is to multiply our area of the base, capital B, by the height of the prism. So let's try this. I'm first going to find the area of my base. So if this length is 3, I know its opposite length is 3. So to find the area of that rectangle, I do base times height, 4 times 3, which is 12. That was step 1. And then step 2 is to take my area of the base, which is 12, and multiply by the height of the prism, which is 2. And I still get 24 units cubed. So let's write down this formula. Volume of a prism or cylinder is the area of the base times the prism height. Now I know for some of you, you think of volume as length times width times height. And this is the formula for rectangular prisms, because if you think about it, length times width tells us the area of the base, and then we multiply by the height. But you have to keep in mind, we're not only dealing with rectangular prisms, we're going to see triangular prisms, hexagonal prisms, cylinders, and so the area of the base formula is going to change based on what the shape of our base is. So it's not always going to be length times width. So please keep in mind, you have to identify the shape of the base first, and then identify what your area formula is going to be. So please make a note that length times width times height is only for rectangular prisms. In number 2, though, we have a triangular prism. So I first need to find the area of my triangle. The area formula of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. And that is referring to the base and the height of the triangle. So looking at just the triangle, it looks like my base and height is 3 and 4. 3 times 4 is 12, divided by 2 gives me an area of 6 centimeters squared for the base. And then my next step, now that I have the area of the base, is to multiply by the height of the prism. And so the prism looks like it is 9 centimeters tall, and so all I have to do is 6 times 9. which will give me a volume of 54 centimeters cubed. The way I remember if my units are squared or cubed is that area is a two-dimensional measure. So because we are dealing with 2D, we use the exponent 2. But volume is a three-dimensional measure. And so that means that we use the exponent 3 for 3D. Let's try another one. Number 3 says find the volume of the cylinder. My base of the cylinder is a circle. So my first step is to find the area of the circle. My area formula for a circle is pi r squared. So pi times 5 squared will give me an area of 25 pi units squared for the area of my base. Then to find volume, I multiply the area of my base by the height of the cylinder, which is 8 units. So 25 pi times 8 will give me an overall volume of 200 pi units cubed. Let's try another one. Find the volume of each prism or cylinder. In A, my base is a pentagon. And remember, to find the area of a pentagon, I need to split the pentagon into triangles, find the area of one of these triangles, and then multiply by how many triangles I have. So it looks like each side is 4. In order to find this angle right here, I do 360 degrees for this circle in the middle and divide it by 5 since I'm splitting it into 5 pieces, which will give me 72. And then I'm only using half of it, so I divide by 2 to get 36 degrees for this angle. In order to find the area of this triangle, I need to find the height. So I know that if this entire base is 4, that this section is 2. And I'm going to label opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse. So that I could use SOHCAHTOA. It looks like I have opposite and adjacent, which tells me I'm going to use tangent. So tangent of 36 equals 2 over h. And then I cross multiply. Since h is being multiplied to the tangent of 36, I need to divide by the tangent of 36 to get h by itself. And I get that the height of my triangle is 2.75. Now that I have the height of my triangle, I can find the area of the triangle. So my base is 4. Make sure you use the entire base. Times 2.75 divided by 2, which gives me 5.5. But remember, this is just one of 5 triangles that make up my pentagon. So 5.5 times 5 gives me an area of my base. That is 27.5 feet squared. And if you're wondering where I got feet from, this little tick mark indicates feet. But we aren't finding the area of just the pentagon. I want the volume. So now that I have the area of my base, to find the volume, I multiply this area of the base by the height of the prism, which is 10. And so I get a volume of 275 feet cubed. So this one was a little longer because the process of finding the area of a pentagon is longer than other polygons. So we had to do all of that to find the area of our base. And then just like normal, we multiply the area of our base by the height of the prism. We have 2 more to go. In part B, I have a triangular prism. So my first step is to find the area of my triangle. To find the area of a triangle, we do base times height divided by 2. So 5 times 6 divided by 2 gives me 15 feet squared for the area of the base. And now I need to find the height of the prism. When you find the height of the prism, you are imagining that the base is on the floor. So right now, my triangular prism is sitting on one of its lateral faces. So imagine if we stood the prism up on its base. That means that the height would actually be 7 feet. So when you find the height of the prism, imagine that the base is on the floor, and then find your height. So 15 times 7 gives me a volume of 105 feet cubed. Last one, I have a cylinder, so my base is a circle. So my area formula for a circle is pi r squared. My radius is 2. So that tells me that the area of my circle is 4 pi feet squared. And same thing we talked about in part B. If I were to stand this cylinder up so that its circular base is on the floor, you would see that the height is this measure right here, the 6 feet. So to find my volume, I take my 4 pi, which is the area of my base, and multiply by the height of the cylinder. And I get 24 pi feet cubed. So if you are able to find area, then you can find volume. Volume of a prism or a cylinder is the area of the base times the height of the prism or cylinder. And make sure that your units are cubed for volume. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you in class.